Welcome back. MTG Joe here. Today we are going to try out a brew in Historic Best of 3. A lot of folks have been asking about Eldrazi. Are they playable in the format? Big thing is the mana. We see it in other formats. Eldrazi are reasonable, modern, stuff like that. You have ugin, you have Eldrazi Temple, you have the Tron lands, which kind of allow you to play the lands. You have the new Ugin's land as well. I'm trying out kind of a different brew here. It is more of a traditional, I don't know why Arena's doing this, just kind of Titan ramp deck that happens to have Eldrazi top end. So we have things like a Boreal Grazer and Kami. Flare of Cultivation's banned, but we have Elvish Rejuvenator as well as early ramp. The Sowing Mycospawn, 4 mana Eldrazi. In and of itself, when we cast it, we get to pick any line from our library, put it into play. And then if we kick it, we can also exile a land from the opponent. So some land destruction built in. Kind of the core of it is try to get to Primeval Titan as quick as possible. And then that allows us to then get a whole bunch of value in that case. Just kind of find us lands, whatever it may be. We have a bunch of one-of lands for value. We also have things like Drowner of Truth as land early, but then Eldrazi late. We have Devourer of Destiny that helps us shape up our early draws and can be removal. I didn't want to go like all in. Like some of the lists I saw, they're playing so many of these big creatures without any early game. The energy decks are very popular right now, and they're very aggressively slanted, just along with wizards. But a couple Devours just as spot removal. Ugin cleans up the board. Ulamog deals with some permanents. I want to try out a couple of the new Eldrazi's. Ulamog the Defiler, exiles a bunch of stuff. Emrakul, and then the other Emrakul to take some turns. Mana base, we just got like a bunch of individual lands. Shifting Woodland can become a copy of target permanent, so we can basically have it become a copy of an Eldrazi potentially. We have Brushland to help us with the colorless. With the Titan, we can fetch the Arid Archway. That can give us 2 lands, which gives us some value. Blaststone for removal, Cavern for Encounterable, Field of Ruin for removal, Myrex for grindier games. Scrapyard's kind of cool because late game we could filter our draws, get extra copies of Scrapyard, and then eventually get a Soul of New Phyrexia. But it also allows us to discard Emrakul World Anew and then cast it for its madness cost of 6. We have Prismatic Vista, just helps us find some of our basics, and then a Radiant Fountain as well for some life gain. So like I said, we can do the Ugins, Labyrinth. Kind of don't want to spend mythics on it, but I feel like with this, you have to really build your deck to be very heavy on the top end. And with our early turns, we're not necessarily looking to ramp in that traditional sense. I need more color in the early games, and we need to be able to block. You'll notice we have Authority of the Console for all the heavy kind of token creature decks. And against Wizards, it's good because it slows down the haste, gains its life. Divine Purge sweeps up all the small stuff, sweeps up the artifacts, and then we can reset these if needed, reset our Elvish Rejuvenator. And then we have Sowing, like we kind of go from there. Sideboard, another council where relevant. Fragment Reality is removal. Rest in peace for Graveyard Hate. Against control matchups or heavy counterspell, we have Carnage Tyrants, as well as Voice of Resurgence when we kind of shift our focus. Get Lost as removal, and then just more sweepers in a creature decks. Day Judgment and Wrath of God. So we're going to try this out. This is very much a brew, folks. I want to try out the idea. We might end up going to the Ugin's land. Flare Cultivation, Field of the Dead, all banned in these formats. But I want to see how, and if possible, one of these big ramp decks can work. We also are Diamond 4, so I don't care about throwing some games. Again, end of the day, the record for this doesn't matter. It's all about experimenting with the new cards. I want to get a feel for things, so we can go 0-2, 0-3, but we want to see, was this viable in any way? Can we modify it? And just kind of get an experiment. Everybody loves casting big, dumb Eldrazi. Exile stuff. I tried looking at an aggressive slanted deck, but like even looking at some of the lists that were popping up, the whole premise is like you get to cast your 3-drop Eldrazi on turn 2 because of Eye of Ugin or Eldrazi Temple, and just kind of play ahead of curve. Otherwise, you're playing kind of slow, and a lot of them are cast triggers where Collected Company doesn't really play much of an effect into it. But we'll see how this one goes. Interested to also get a feel for the best of 3 format. Been killing it in best of 1 with Boros Energy, but I wanted to get a feel for the best of 3 format, see if if we go a little bit more controlling. I was also considering going black as a splash instead of white. You could do stuff like Knight of Souls Betrayal, You could do Karavik, the one all creatures get -1/1. That just kind of statically erases the energy decks and some of the small creature decks. So something to consider there. But hopefully find an opponent soon. We did drop the metagame breakdown for both best of 1 and best of 3 historic. So if you're interested to see where the early meta stands, what decks are doing well, what new cards, definitely check out. Playing Crusty JFK. So early hands, we want removal, or sorry, potentially removal or just early acceleration. Gonna mulligan this hand. I think we keep this one. Put a brush line back. Vista could be wizards, could be energy. Stalactite stalker. I could lead on this. I think we're just setting up for now. Interesting. Oh, I guess that's a goblin as well. So this Divine Purge will do some work. Let them play a little bit more to the board here. Prospector. Taking a big chunk here. Authority is definitely a card we're going to want in this matchup. Sweeps them up here. They can reset, but this will help us ramp. I can get Radiant Fountain. That's going to be annoying. Just being able to deal a little bit of extra damage there. Cast this. So we know that this is definitely a Radiant Fountain matchup. That first hand was a little annoying. Or sorry, not a... whatchamacallit. We might want the Lush Protocol. Actually, I can use Radiant Fountain here, and then I can bounce it back with the Arid Archway, and then get some value there. Likely the Muxus version. Stalker here. Stalker with the sleep. I got the removal. Bit too much in the way here. So we can go this. Bring back the Radiant Fountain. Play out Grazer. Replay the Radiant Fountain. Play this out just because it's another blocker, basically. And then next turn I can cast Devour. Ugin would also be nice. Actually, we have enough for Ugin. So Ugin, we can cast some of our Eldrazi. They can just pump their team here, which is probably enough. Pump there, they deal 4, and then they should be able to deal the remaining damage. Sack 4. Got me. The Sling Gang kind of did us in there. But we know what they're against. We can board a little bit different. So this matchup's really just about removal, Day of Judgments, Wrath of Gods. What's the wording on this? Is this... Okay, so it's not when it dies. It's just the effect of sacrificing. Probably can gain control. This Ulamog's probably too slow. Devour's too slow. Probably one Ugin. I want to try out some of the Eldrazi, so we'll still keep them in. Probably run it like that. We need the early game. It could be right to just play Voice of Resurgent as well, but our removal is kind of exile. We get an Authority of the Consuls in our opener, will be very good. In this. Keep this. Look back. Probably the Fragment Reality. Play that. I can play this tapped. Then go into Sowing. Following turn. Axier. Still away from this one. Temple here. Get the white source here. And we probably get I don't have enough to do the Emrakul trick. We probably do the Archway here. Buy that. Maybe should have done the Myrex in case we drew a sweeper there. Matron could get Muxus. So far it's been pretty awkward, the deck. We probably want the One Ring, maybe. I could see that maybe being reasonable. We have no card advantage engine, which has been a bit of a problem. We'll add the One Ring after this. This is why I want to play some games, just to see. I can sack that to deal 6. Too much. We're just not getting much here. We're just not getting anywhere. I need to fix this deck a bit. We can get some line, but I think we need the One Ring here. I also don't think like we're ever casting this Emrakul. Trim on that. I think we trim on these. We definitely do want more Ugins. So we have some Eldrazi here on the top end, and I think we play 2 One Ring. I think that would help. We can try the One Ring. We can also do what's it called? Palantir. But Palantir gets hit by Divine Purge. Let's try this. Again, just trying out stuff. We had a lot of kind of removal options, but once they kind of go Muxus, we just drew into lines. This is kind of the problem with this ramp deck, where you're not getting like huge utility out of your mana base. Where with in like Timeless, you have Natural Order, you can cheat stuff. You have Field of the Dead, which is kind of flood insurance, which we don't have here. Guess we can try the micro or whatever that Field of the Dead creature is as well. That has us going into Abzan. But that might be something we can work out. The Micro Tyrant, I think it is the name. We'll give it a couple shots, see how this one goes. But again, the notion of this was to test this out. Some folks were asking. I wanted to see what would work, what wouldn't. But I don't think Emrakul is going to work without the Tron lands because it's hard to get the 6 off Madness and it's hard to kind of get to that top end. We end up having to play a lot of sweepers. I think we could be reasonable against energy, but also have to find, like, you know, against goblins, having all your life gain can be useful. Okay. I jumped 1978. Play first. Sure. This is actually less damage for me to put in the Temple Garden tapped, so we'll try that. Gives us a blocker early. Field of Ruin. So if we can find like another land is nice. We're just not going to find a land. Give me a land. Oh my god. 27 lands. 27 lands. Divine Purge will wreck this deck. Probably Angels. You know what? It's something. I'm probably gonna take them off Razor Verge here. Sorry, it's gonna be big. Scry one to the top. Definitely gonna field them at this point. It's probably another land on top if I'd have to guess. We will get another green source here. Do this, get the archway. Back to hand. So probably just gonna be channeling this as 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can channel it, have the land, and play Myko-Song. Oh, so they're this Scurry combo. So they'll be gaining like infinite life. Just fine. Here. Gotta get to Ugin. Ooh, prime time. That is nice as well. So it's 1, 6, that would take me to 8, and then it leaves me something behind. Gain some life here. I think we're gonna get the Lush Prodico and a Blast Zone. Probably okay just with a land here. We're just gonna block and then I'll sweep their board. Notably, this is devoid, so this will not die. It can adapt here, which would get them the colorless Eldrazi. Really odd. Is this just infinite? Yeah. So it's infinite life here. did have the combo. The thing is I have the sweeper here. Let them run its through. I guess they have 2 blockers here. Or like we have to do both blockers. Because the basking brood scale survives. But I can just play out the Kami after, so we're still okay. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, so we're okay. Do this. They're gonna have a bunch of scries, but scries aren't super huge here. This is a little bit of the problem with this deck. Without like a Malia or something, they don't actually win on the spot. See how big they want to go here. This is another deck where if we have either Divine Purge early or Authority of the Consuls, we'd be gaining life off all this as well, which kind of puts them at a disadvantage. $78 triggers on the stack. I think they're done here. Taking their scries. I guess they can go 3 deep here, but we'll see how big they want to go. Might still have it. We're only at 19. Missing that early line drop probably set us back just enough, which is kind of annoying. Problem is I can't even see how many real life gain triggers they have. I think they might have enough. Yeah, let's just... They're gonna have, because with these ones, they have enough attackers to go wide. So bring in the removal, get lost, fragment reality, consoles. Again, we're gonna just take out one burn could be reasonable. Out Elvish. Turn on the One Ring. Turn on Ulamog. Turn on Akami. Turn on one Get Lost. Do it like that. They were able to go a little bit wide enough there, and they properly stacked them to go wide. All right, we got Grazer. And we have Divine Purge here, which is nice. We've been terrible at drawing our stupid Authority of the Consuls in a few games now. Every game has been relevant to have it. I'm gonna just keep that in hand. Pick up Blast Zone to 2 here. So really just want like a Sowing Myclo spawn probably. Innkeeper. Luminarch. Put a blast counter on this. Hey, one ring's great. So this will force them to kind of commit more to the board. So Heliod here will sweep at this point. I think that's reasonable enough. Point, we have protection. And we have console. Would like to draw lines, would be nice. The deck refuses to give us lines. Always fun. Notably, Heliod wasn't animated there, so we don't get them, but we have another authority. We can try to draw some cards. We are a 27-line deck that can't draw lines. Inquisitor Captain. So notably, the Captain gets around Divine Purge. And we have Rosie. Rosie's at 3. Let's go Giant. Cards here. Should have waited. We could have done both there. Another Divine Purge, I think, is fine here. We just eat up their stuff. And then I can do Primeval Titan, get Radiant Fountain, and the bounce land for the Radiant Fountain. Soul Warden comes in. 5 here. They have the combo. They get me. Don't think I can afford another Divine Purge turn. The annoying thing, though, kind of takes us out. We get to put counters here. Get Radiant Fountain and Archway, gain a life, and we'll bring the Radiant Fountain back to hand. So this will give us another turn here. They could attack us for 7. Probably end up taking it. Might be that we actually got a block here. We might just be dead. We'll be at 1. Nope, we're just dead. So yeah. Deck is really awkward. I don't think this is anything viable. Do with that as you will. But this is why we try these things out. Some of them are going to work, some of them aren't. But I think you're just trying to compete on 2 different axes. We weren't able to kind of get ahead. And even these like creature decks that we should be having a reasonable time against, like with the sweepers, they're kind of finding a way around. Let me know what you think. If you got an Eldrazi build, let me know in the comments. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.